Oh, jeez. Every time. What? Yeah, right, Deb.
Oh,
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that there's no such thing as coincidences or mistakes, and we're here to share our life experience on that with you. My name is Deb Miller.
hi everybody. Susan Doyle. I yet again cannot keep my S together during the
Opening.
introduction opening.
And we have with us,
Hi, I'm Kristen Dean.
Okay,
I
so did you guys
apologize.
know that there's an intro and then the thing at the end is called an outro? Did you know that?
Oh,
No,
makes sense.
Learn something.
we haven't been doing an outro in quite some time. It's so funny. Before we started this, I was like giving everybody, slaps on the wrist that we have to wear headsets so that the audio is perfect and blah 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 blah. And what happens? I can't even get a sentence out the minute the recording
So,
starts. So who cares if
okay,
the
truth
sound
be
is good or
told,
not?
you were telling us what to do. You're very bossy today.
I'm very
And
bossy.
yeah, and then we started yet again talking about hormone replacement, which I do want the listener to know that we have a couple of people lined up to talk about it in future episodes. And then you're like, let's get this together. And I'm like, well, okay. And you're like, well, I want to go to Walgreens so I can pick up my estrogen. I'm like, apparently you need it. And then I hit the record button and I couldn't stop laughing.
Drill Sergeant.
Well, prior to that, you guys are like, oh, I'm on the hormone replacement. Oh, I feel fabulous. And oh, this and oh, that. And I'm like, okay, mine's waiting for me at Walgreens right now. So can we
Get it.
stop talking about it? Just get me out the
That's what
door
you
to go get
said.
it. Yes.
Pardon me. That's what you
So
said.
nobody's going to be feeling good if I'm not feeling good too. Right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I
am a little bit testy today. And so I wonder, Sue was talking about another person that she knows that was on kind of a high dosage, which is what was recommended for me. But I started at a low dose. So I'm only on the low dose and I'm out here shoveling yet a fucking again. And
I
I
know.
fell and I'm so annoyed.
Oh,
I
you
love the
fell? Are you
snow.
okay?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh my
I'm
God.
out there shoveling in my UGG boots. Who does that? That's just stupid. So
Yeah, but wait a
I was
minute. Why
irritated.
is that stupid? Because aren't UGG boots meant to be
Oh,
the boots you wear in the snow?
not mine.
No.
They don't have in
Oh,
fact
there's no tread anymore.
I
Yeah.
just ordered
Those
some
are the
new
boots
ones.
you wear out to dinner
Yes.
Oh, okay.
in a snowstorm,
Stupid dupid.
not to
Okay.
shovel.
So
Well,
anyway, I don't know if the slight annoyance is from the estrogen or testosterone or whatever they have me on. Um, but I also
well,
I
have
think
other good side
I
effects.
think the slight annoyance is because it's fucking snowing again.
Snowing again.
I
Let's
know.
start there. And we were talking about this before we, hit the record button, and Debbie, still call her Debbie,
Mhm.
takes her little jacket off to show her tank top
Yes.
because
Very tan.
she just wants to rub it in. And you're
Yes.
tan, you're really tan.
You
I
are.
have been,
However, we are all three going to be in Florida
yes, you guys will be here soon.
together.
I am tan because I have been doing my multi-mile walk every day
Good girl.
on the beach.
Good girl.
So I'm
Good.
out there doing my thing. It clearly is not doing anything to calm my mind. Today is just one of those days where um, I'm just very edgy and I'm not behaving like a duck and letting things roll off of me. For some reason, they're absorbing into me and I'm feeling the feelings. So I will start this episode by making amends to both of you. I'm sorry that I've been Miss Bossy Pants and Snappy Wappy today. I That's on me, not on you. You girls have been done nothing but be your normal, fun, loving,
Annoying
beautiful
selves.
selves. I'm the one who has been out of line, so I apologize.
Well, thank you. thank you, but you weren't like, I love that you get bossy every once
Yeah,
in a while.
Oh,
you were
really? Oh,
fine.
good. Okay.
Yeah,
No apology necessary, I
yeah,
feel.
I love it. I think that's great.
Yeah, sometimes I just get up and I'm like, today is a day that I will take no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's today.
I think that should
Um,
be every day, but
Maybe
it
that's
should
not
be every
even
day, but
fair.
but I tend to err on the side of if something comes at me, I tend to think, well, that person's not having a good day, I'll let it go, or whatever it may be. But today was a day where I was like, no, I'm think people have to be accountable for
I
actions.
agree.
And and the more you let things go, the worse they're going to get sometimes. And so I've just that's the mood I'm in today. I mean, I'm going to go to the beauty parlor in
Embrace
a
it.
couple hours and I will relax and maybe having a new fluff in my hair will make me feel better, more relaxed.
Somebody fingering your hair.
Ew. No,
Do
that
people
doesn't
still call it the
happen.
beauty parlor? I'm having a deja vu. Did we
No.
have a
Emma,
conversation about beauty parlor, hairdresser, stylist, or was that just in my head by myself?
I think it was in your head, but Kristen and I, years and years ago, used to say to each other, going to the beauty parlor.
going to the
And it
gonna
just
get a
Yeah, I
stuck.
mean, that's what my mom used to say. I hate my
Yeah,
hair today, so go to the beauty parlor for me to get a little zhuzhy.
a little shushy shush.
A little
So, anyways,
zhuzh.
but I will tell you that one of the things that the program of AA has taught me is that, I don't feel good about myself when I'm misbehaving. And so to make an apology, make an amends right away off the bat, whether or not that person feels that an apology or an amends is made to them, it makes me feel better that I'm owning my behavior and I'm saying, um, I know how I'm reacting is not how I want to react, and so I apologize that you're at the receiving end of that. That's to me what keeps peace in my heart is being accountable for my own actions. And I think today that's what we're talking about, right? Is the importance of
Yeah.
making amends
Yeah,
to
I have
people.
lots of questions,
Oh, oh,
but
good.
why don't you start asking? You want to like, I don't know how you gals want to do this. We didn't talk about like
I
format.
know now okay, so I do have to put a little plug in there. We are now on iHeartRadio, which is not a small feat.
No,
So I want to
no.
give us a little pat on the
Yes.
back
Pats
for
all
doing
around.
that, getting that. It's actually Deb. She was the one who put all the work into getting us on there.
Thanks, Deb.
Uh, well,
Um,
wait, let me just say something about that because yes, there's certain criteria that you have to for them to even look at you. And when we reached the criteria of X amount of episodes for a year and we had to be every week, we had to, be consistent, then I was able to at least put our name in there. But there's still criteria that I have nothing to do with, that we have nothing to do with, that they then listen and have to um, approve. And so I just kind of submitted us. Look at that.
So
What?
like all this and
oh my
Yeah.
God,
And
there's the dongle.
Kristen's loud banging. This doesn't work. My son just joined us before. I don't have a microphone on my cheesy, cheap little headphones.
What is
Um,
that little black thing? That looks like a mic. I thought that was the microphone, the little
it's
break in
it's
the cord right there.
yeah, that looks.
it's a pause and a volume for my phone.
Ah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And these
So
things break. They last like 3 months at a clip. So I just have to get something. But in the meantime, I'm going to try and be very quiet. I'm going to sit on my hands, no flailing about.
flailing sound. Well, again,
I just got a new headset or a new head of earbud, like corded earbuds like Deb has on from the Amazon machine.
yeah,
They were like
they sell these
17.99
everywhere.
and it has a
Easy breezy.
microphone and then a volume and you could pause it when you're listening to stuff.
Yeah.
I can't really
Yeah.
pause you guys, but
You can get these anywhere, Kristen. Next
Yes,
time you
I'm
go
gonna
out and you slip and slide all over the place and you decide to get in your car and
fall on
drive
my
somewhere,
driveway.
then you
Yeah.
can pick up a headset. But anyways, and so
Okay, so
iHeart saw something special in us and said we would like to have you as part of our podcast family. So here we are. Yeah.
Yay. Fantastic. Every time I hear iHeart Radio, I think of Howard Stern. I don't know
I
why.
know.
Does he talk about iHeart Radio? Is it a
No, he's on
satellite?
Sirius.
He's
No,
serious, right?
iHeart is not.
Maybe I'm hearing it on something else.
I
Yeah.
think other podcasts will say, you can hear us on where you get your podcasts.
Mhm.
And lots of times they'll give a shout out to our iHeart. Um,
Yeah, iHeart was the only one that like, so we basically, when we set this up, we automatically were put into Apple Podcasts and all of the other ones. It just automatic,
they're
but
not as strict with their
right.
parameters getting on their platform. This is the
iHeart, yeah,
strictest one.
that's right. So we are very honored that they allowed us and chose us to be part of their iPod family.
Look at us.
I know. So
So, all right. So what do you say? So you wanna
Well, so we were
pose
saying
a
that we were
question.
talking about we didn't really talk about a format kind of situation. And then I went into iHeart and I'm like, oh, well, maybe now should we possibly like start thinking about what we're
I know. Well,
talking about before we get on? But I like that. You know what? I like this. I like this.
I
I mean, we
loved it
have a
last
general
week
idea
when
of
you
what we're
just
going to talk
hit
about.
go. Remember last week when she just hit, we were
Yeah.
we were
Oh God.
talking.
Oh God. We're okay. Oh God. We're
we're on.
starting.
It's
Yeah,
like thought we were going to
yeah.
review some things first, but I think today what we are going to talk about is the importance of being accountable for your own behavior, reactions, and actions, and doing the right thing, which is saying I'm sorry and making an amends. And Sue just mentioned that she's got some questions which we had no idea were coming our way. So why don't you knock those
Well,
out to us?
okay. Well, so amends is a step in AA, correct?
Yes.
And where in the 12 steps does it show itself?
8, 9, and
Chris,
10.
yeah. Go
So it
ahead, you can
starts
talk
with
about it.
8. Starts with step 8, which is making a list of the persons we had harmed, and
Hmm.
becoming willing to make amends to those folks. Step 9 is actually doing that. And then step
Meaning
10
what? Like
is actually
calling them and say,
making,
I need to talk to you, and like
correct.
setting a face to face.
Or
Does it have to be face
however,
to face?
it does not have to be face to face. However, it might work. I've made amends to people who lived across the country. Um, so telephone, whatever. But yeah, it's however it best works for the person making the amends and also to the willingness of the receiver of said amends. You never
So
know.
could it be a letter?
I wrote many letters to dead people and burned them. I wrote letters to live people and burned them. But I haven't. I think Debbie has some letter stories she can share with us. But and then step 10 kind of rounds it all out, which is what Deb was just talking about when she was keeping her side of the street clean by being like, I'm sorry, I was snappy wappy. Like, even though she wasn't,
Hmm.
like she felt uncomfortable about that. So she wants to make sure she keeps her side of the street clean. And that's the preventative maintenance that happens every day.
Got it.
So
So when you make amends in AA and during that step, how far back do you go?
Back to the
Like, is
beginning.
it so like okay, so I have some people in my life who um you guys are in the program and some other people. Like, do you go back, so here's a perfect example. All right, or not a perfect example, but a scenario. So
Mhm.
you work the 12 steps, right? And for however long it takes you, and then you're doing your thing and then all of a sudden you fall off. Okay. And then you get back into the program. So
Mhm.
then you work the steps again from the beginning.
Mhm.
Do you go back to that first time and make amends to all the people that you already made amends to, like with that 12 steps? Or when you start fresh, you start from who you have to make amends to this time?
That's a great question. Do you want me to take that one since I'm the relapse queen?
Go right ahead. Yes.
So, um, I did not go back again, um, because the main people on my list were, um, well, my children were not born when I first got sober. So they headed the list. Um, but basically, yes, I went back to the beginning of my relapse and looked at, so here sitting on the podcast is number one, Deborah Jean Miller was a huge amends that I owed, right? Because I left her in a lurch. So with her, as with my children, it's mostly a living amends. Like Debbie and I have
So
talked.
you didn't go back to the people you made amends to the first time you got sober before your kids were born,
Nah, because those folks,
unless there was the same people on the list.
correct, which, you could look at my parents, but I didn't really affect them this time around. They barely knew I was drinking, but and I'll let Debbie talk about this too. Like as far as going like that first time going all the way back, I wish I still had my original list, but I have a tendency to get rid of things and burn things because I don't want people to
Mm-hmm.
find them. Um, my sponsor said, and Deb can tell you if I said this to her, I think it was similar. You don't have to go back to, I had in like the third and fourth grade, I would pick on some of I was a bit of a bully sometimes. I was also bullied, but I bullied others.
Mm-hmm.
If I ran into somebody from those days, I would be sure to make an amends, but I wasn't seeking those people out. I was talking to my parents. I was talking to my ex-husband, close friends. Institutions were a huge one in my first sobriety because my ex-husband and I could not get a mortgage to buy our first home because yours truly wasn't paying her bills when I was active. So those were amends I had to make. But I did not go way, way back just because there was enough damage in the 10 or so years I was using before I got sober. So,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but I'll let Deb talk about, what she thinks about all of that as well.
Well, I mean, I didn't think of even anything that happened prior to my addiction. I didn't really think that I owed anybody amends. It was more like, oh,
The
who did
people you
I
hurt.
harm while I was active?
Got it.
Um, and that for me, that was the part of the ninth step that I was like, I have to go to these people that I dragged that had any part of my addiction that I hurt them in any way, shape, or form. And even if I didn't, if they felt they weren't hurt, but I knew in my heart that I lied to them or I stole from them or I did something that they weren't might not have even been aware of, for my own peace of mind, I needed to make that amends. And so my list was a lot of people that I maybe worked for or friends that I stole from or lied to. That's where that came. And then I went back to the beginning of my addiction because once I was in the pattern of needing to survive, I was in survival mode with the addiction. I was doing things that I would have never done if I wasn't in that predicament. And so I really felt like in order for me to start clean and do what I needed to do so I wasn't carrying any guilt or shame on my shoulders anymore, I needed to have those conversations. I wrote letters because when I got clean, it was 2004. And there wasn't like text messaging was
Right.
just kind of starting. It was like
Yeah.
the ABC, you had to like, if you wanted to do
Yeah.
ABC, you had to click it 3 times. It was like, so the easiest way, and emails weren't really, happening. They might have just been starting. I don't remember. But so writing letters was my big thing, and also just in person making amends. But um I I feel today that doing the 10th step, which is taking a look at my actions throughout the day and saying, do I owe anybody an amends or an apology? And again, it might have been something that didn't even phase that other person, but because it didn't feel good for me to behave that way, I need to make an amends.
That's a
What's the
huge
difference between an amends and an apology? Like so is
question.
it like sort of an apology for somebody who's not in the program and an amends it's a matter of semantics?
Go ahead,
So
Kristen.
amends is like, this is how I learned. An apology is, I'm sorry, Deb. I'm getting looked at with my hand. Sorry.
Oh no, no,
Yeah.
I'm really tuned into what
Apparently,
you're
but
saying.
apparently Bossy took her pants off.
So
It's making me take my pants off.
This is all right.
an
This
What?
is not for
amends
children.
is changed behavior, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I could say to Deb, I'm so sorry that I ditched you for alcohol in 2013. But she knows I'm sorry, but she was really hurt by my actions. My children were really hurt by the way I behaved. My amends is continuing to live rightly, to stay sober, to not do those awful things again, to
Interesting.
maintain. So, an amends is
Yeah.
changed behavior, an apology is words. And the other thing I want to call out that is so important in the ninth step is it's made direct amends to such people on our list, except when to do so would injure them or others.
Mhm.
So in other
So in
words,
like actually injure, like physically injure them or
No,
emotionally. So how
emotionally.
do you know that? How do you know it's going to injure them?
so here's an example, and this is a classic example that they use in the step book. It's, suppose you had an affair with someone, right?
Mm, yeah.
During or whatever, like you
Yeah.
you screwed around on your significant other while you were active, and you're not gonna go apologize to them if they don't know. I mean, you
Oh, I
can,
see.
but you're not going to involve other parties. Like you're not going to go apologize to the other spouse or the other significant other
Right.
and be
Okay.
like,
I get
I'm
that.
so sorry, because it's unloading your own personal ick
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the expense of someone who's, you're not going to do it again, supposedly. Then you're going to let it go, and you're not going to involve others, or you're not going to, there were things I did that my children did not need to know that I did. I'm
Mm-hmm.
their mother, and it's, embarrassing, and I talk to other people about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, because
What if you know the other person's going to be verbally violent towards like it's like you're making the amends and they're still
not ready.
angry for the drinking, angry for the positions that your addiction put them in, all the things, and pretty, with a high percentage that if you opened that door for a conversation with them, they are going to blast you.
Mhm.
Do you still do it?
Okay, so the way that I do an amends is I have to ask myself, am I doing this for me or for
Mm.
them? Okay. And
And who are you doing it for? You
well, I'm doing
and your
it,
sobriety.
so okay, so sometimes if I'm doing it for me, just to unload and say, I did this and I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that person who's receiving it is not ready, willing, or able, then I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm doing it just so I can say, I did it. I said I was sorry. I'm making an amends. And tough shit, if you're not ready to accept the amends, I'm checking that box. That's not the right way to do it. You can't do it. You can't
Mm-hmm.
try to make yourself feel better, make somebody feel worse. Okay. So,
Okay.
so the example that you gave, and again, everybody does it a little differently. I'm just saying the way that I would
Mm-hmm.
do it. If I was, you know, ahead of time, if somebody is willing to accept your amends. And you also know if the timing is not right. And if
True.
I'm going to go to talk to somebody and make that amends, I better be damn sure that they are in a position where they're willing and able to hear me. And they don't have to accept it or not, but they're not going to get violent towards me. If that's the case, I'm writing it and putting it in a letter or an email or something.
So when you know that they're going to that there's a high percentage, a high chance that they're going to verbally assault you
Yeah,
when
no.
you're making your amends, you can write a letter.
You can write
Or
a
do you
letter.
wait? Or do you wait to complete that step until everybody is ready to receive?
No way, no way. You can't not ever you'll never be at a time when everything lines up so beautifully that all the people on your list are going to be ready to accept your amends. It just
Mm-hmm.
some people you've hurt so badly that they will never grant you forgiveness. And but what I would personally do is put it in paper and acknowledge how much they're hurt and acknowledge that I just want you to know that this is what I'm doing to better myself and to make it so I never hurt you or anybody else like that again. You don't have to ask them for forgiveness. You don't have to, that's up to them to give you forgiveness. But in
Mm-hmm.
order, if you truly want to make an amends, change your life, make a difference, and heal those wounds that you caused somebody else, that acknowledgement has to be made. But you never put yourself in a position where you could be hurt by somebody physically, emotionally, or any other way. Um, but you do have to take that first step in taking accountability for your actions, your past actions.
And do you name, like your example, Deb, if you stole from them
Mhm.
in your amends, is it that specific of I am sorry that I stole money from you while in the throes of my or however you
Yeah.
phrase it? Do you get granular with each person with what you did to
Yeah.
them in your addiction, or is it sort of an overarching thing where
Well,
it's not detailed?
no. So it's got to be specific and it's got to be but you have to make sure again unless you to injure those or others, you do not ever want to injure another person with your amends. So I'm not calling up the wife of the guy I had an affair with. That didn't happen, but I'm just using that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
If she has no clue what happened and it didn't mean a damn thing, like that's just bringing somebody in that's
Okay.
she was just caught in the crossfire. That's not fair.
So
That's
you're
not fair.
mentioning that quote unquote stolen whatever, knowing that they know.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
would
I
Okay.
have
say,
an example
yeah,
of
an
that.
example. And then by the way, if I've stolen money from you, then I'm going to repay you. That's part of the amends too.
Financial restitution.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
You
So
like
sorry, I
gotta make
stole that $20. Here it is,
here
or
it is.
what? Yeah,
Here's the
you got
payment
to you got to
plan.
make the restoration. Exactly. Go
And
ahead,
Kristen,
Kristen.
what's
What's
your
your
So
example?
example?
so I've already talked about this, I think, in my relapse podcast, but I had one of my very good friends. This was in my first throes of addiction. I was at a party at her boyfriend's house and I stole pills from him. She knew I had a pill addiction. She blatantly asked me, Kristen, did you take Rich's pills? I said, no, no, I didn't. So she was like, okay. I lied to her. So when I
Mm-hmm.
got sober, I went back to her and I said, by the way, I lied to you and I'm really sorry about that. Now, I can't go get him more pills. That's not what I would do. But that was, she knew I was lying. She had an inkling
Mm-hmm.
I was lying, but she appreciated my restitution to her and my, you know, amends to not do it again. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is how I'm not going to behave in the future. But it wasn't going to injure her. It was, hey,
Right.
I did this, and I stole pills I went to open houses and stole pills from strangers. I didn't go back to those folks because I don't know who they are. And that's when to do so would injure them or others,
Mm-hmm.
maybe me. I mean, I could
Mm-hmm.
be arrested. So, whatever. Yeah, it's tricky, but it's not. Like it's pretty obvious that those people, for instance, my pseudo parents, Steve and Marilyn, they died during my addiction, my alcoholism. I was not a very present individual in their lives as they were transitioning to death. So I wrote them letters and I burned them. I'm sorry for
Mm-hmm.
not being there, all the stuff you did for me, blah, blah, blah. I've also done that with people that I cannot get in touch with because, I've said it before, you have to be, exes are tricky. My ex-husband was easy because we shared custody of children. Um, but, you can't go, I'm not going to go searching out, some guy that I
Mm-hmm.
was with in, whatever.
Right.
So let
So are
me
you
ask you, Sue.
seeking forgiveness from
Huh?
these people with the amends?
Not necessarily. I feel like what
You're
you're
asking for
doing.
forgiveness. I feel like
What's that?
you're asking for forgiveness.
I mean, yes, but it's not like it's not like if somebody says to me, F you, Kristen, you know what? That's okay. I've swept my side of the street
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I can do. And that's okay. I have to let that go that that person does not accept my apology.
Yeah, I mean you're looking to be forgiven, but a lot of times you're not. And that's an acceptance. You have to accept that some people you have hurt so deeply or ruin their trust for the rest of your like they're
Mm-hmm.
just not gonna grant you that forgiveness and that's okay. That's okay. But what I try to do is take the wrong that I made and make it right. That's all. But Sue, I have a question for you.
Sure.
If you were hurt by somebody that was in the throes of an addiction
Mm-hmm.
and now they're doing their steps and they're
Mm-hmm.
reaching out to you, what would you want to hear from them? What would that sound like?
Oh boy, it's a great question.
I mean, do you want a
Um,
letter? Do you want somebody saying, "Hey, I'm sorry that I, uh, hit you, ran into you while I was drunk driving and smashed your car." Like what would you want from somebody that,
I think that's a great question. I liken it to, so nobody's ever really made amends to me, but I know what I like to hear and see in, I guess, an apology or an attempt to keep one side of the street clean is ownership of the specific thing.
Mhm.
So to your point, both of your points actually, if somebody just says, I'm sorry for everything, like
Yeah.
that doesn't, I like to hear and I like to give I am very sorry for my reaction to what you said this morning, X, Y, and Z. I am very sorry that I brought language into an argument or a discussion that had no place.
Mm.
I am sorry that I called you a name. So I think it would be something specific. And I don't know if this is like the trainer in me or the mom in me or just who I am, but I am interested in how you're going to change your behavior.
Mhm.
I'm interested in to hear like, okay, I appreciate you recognizing, right, that these things were not okay for you to do. But how is it going to be different moving forward?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, what's your action plan
Yep.
Yeah,
kind of thing?
that's
That's
fair.
really fair.
So I am very sorry that I did not set boundaries with, this is an example, with my family. Moving forward, there will be a conversation and an expectation that looks like this,
Yeah,
and it will be set by me this way.
exactly.
Do you, another
Exactly how it should be.
question for you, Sue? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. I love that. Like, I don't think anybody ever said to me, "What's your plan of action?" Maybe my ex-husband, like, made sure I was going to meetings. This is many, many moons ago.
Right.
But,
Because like when I give an apology, it is, I am very sorry that I behaved or said or did. Moving forward, I would like to be able to pause before I have that type of reaction.
Mhm.
Or moving forward, I would like the opportunity to stop the discussion before it escalates to where it just did, or
Mhm.
something like that. So that's the standard I hold myself to when I'm apologizing.
Mhm.
that's kind of what I was going to ask you. Do you have any stories? You're not a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, or
Hmm.
you don't have an addiction to a substance. Do you have any stories, good or bad, of maybe when you made an amends or an apology that either went really well or went sideways?
Um, that's a great question. Um, I think specifically I can remember, I mean, I do take ownership when I have an argument with my significant other that goes completely sideways. I will say something to the effect of the message came out wrong. I am not apologizing for standing up for myself or creating a boundary. I am sorry for my delivery
Mhm.
type of thing. I do remember apologizing to my children um, when I was getting divorced for the years of anger that I showed them because of feeling stifled in my marriage. Um,
And did they accept that? Were they like, "That's okay, mom"?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they really did. They did. Um, they did. So I have a tendency to be, you're gonna find this really shocking.
I
That
know
when
where you're
somebody is
going.
apologizing to me, like I am not always super receptive. And so um I'm more receptive when it's granular. Like what I said, I'm much more receptive when somebody says to me, it instead of saying, like I'll just take an example of an argument with my significant other, with my husband, sorry that went sideways, or sorry that I raised my voice. Or, what I would love to hear is, I am really sorry that I called you this, and this in the heat of anger.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
was not right. That was not fair, and it didn't add any value.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
when he said, because when if he says, "Oh, I'm just sorry for everything," I'll be like, "No, you're not. You just want to clear the air
mm,
because you're not, or I'll say something really bitchy like, "Well, what are you sorry for?"
mm,
Everything. No, 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 no. Like, what did you just say in the last 15 minutes that you're sorry for? You know what I mean? And then I feel like I'm kind of reprimanding, which is not nice either.
mm.
You know.
Yeah, but that,
Um,
see, yeah, and I remember the first time I called Kevin a name in an argument. I called him, I
Who
don't
did
know
you call
even what it
him?
was, or I said F you or something like, and I was like horrified that it got to the point where I was that mad. And I thought that immediately I was like, okay, I don't want to be in that kind of relationship where we're just throwing F-bombs at each other because
right.
that's not good. And
Mhm.
so I was like, I had to calm down a little bit. And then I said, I am really sorry that I threw that in there because that's not how I want our relationship to be. And it's not how I want that. Those not aren't words that I want to come out of my mouth. Like,
Yeah.
um,
So piggybacking on that for a second,
yeah.
like I have heard myself say, I am sorry I allowed myself to drop down to your level. And that, and so
No,
that's
that's
not
not
very
good.
nice either. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
basically
passive
like coming
aggressive.
in sideways with a stab, coming into the left, stabbing on the right, and basically blaming him
Mhm.
for my reaction. So, yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're giving specific ways of making sure things don't happen again.
yes. Does it always work? No.
Eh,
Does it work some of the time? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I admittedly so. I am a reactive person when I feel like I'm pushed into a corner.
Yeah. I think most people are.
Or if the discussion argument heart to heart is starting to go sideways,
Yeah.
um, I don't always say time
Yeah.
out.
Let's
I
Let's
know.
not
table
do, let's
this.
not continue. I have been guilty of wanting, and I think maybe this is where, maybe some people's reaction to people making amends is, I want resolution.
Mhm.
And not everything is meant, and not everything is meant to be a resolution.
Mhm.
Like in an amends, it sounds as though you're not solving a problem, right? Not everything is a problem to be solved. It is, I did this, I am
Yeah.
sorry, you know.
And I feel
Well,
like
Um,
let's talk a little bit
volatility.
about people who relapse a lot. And they have to go back to those same people that they're making amends to and that they have made amends to. After a while, it's not, you don't want to hear it
Yep.
anymore. You're just
mhm.
like, the words mean nothing now. I need to see an action. And
So is okay. Forgive me for interrupting you, but I keep going on the same track. If there is a chronic relapser,
mhm,
do some of the steps, like the resentments and the amends and things like that, change a little bit based on these people now need to see action. They don't need to have your words any longer. And does the sponsor then say, okay, listen, like this is your fifth, sixth, ninth time through this. You cannot continue to go to the same people saying the same exact thing and expect them now not to have a negative reaction towards you.
Yeah. I had
Does it
I
change?
spoke to a woman on a meeting last week who I think it's only her first relapse, but her significant other was beside himself and like, how do I trust you? And blah, 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 blah. She's not a chronic relapser, but I said
Or
to her,
even
yeah,
one, it's like, okay, well,
I said, you got
now
to
what?
give him
Because I believed you
time.
last time. What do I do with this now?
Exactly. Like you saying and you feeling that it's different for you, he can't possibly, I'm getting what you're throwing down, that you're getting it, that you're doing it for
Right.
you this time, but he doesn't trust you, and that's okay. He shouldn't trust you until you can string together some time. And here are some suggestions. Maybe this time get a sponsor, maybe this time work the
Hmm.
steps, like all the things. But you're exactly right. So if I were sponsoring, I've never sponsored a chronic relapser, but
Have you, Deb?
Well, let's Kristen finish her
it would
piece.
totally be an action. It would be just what you
Hmm.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go apologize to this person yet again, but I would back it up by saying, I know I've done this 8 million times. This time
So
I'm
you're
going to show you.
acknowledging
Yes.
that you've said this to them
Mhm.
before
Yeah.
and you went back to it anyway, and
Mhm.
this is how it's going to be different.
Yeah. And it's going to be
And then you have to
action,
expect them not to believe you.
like
Yeah.
amends.
And that's exactly what I would say to them. You owe them an apology, but don't expect them to be kind and generous about your apology. You've done it too many times.
Hmm.
You need to say the words, but you have to also back them up with your action. And because you can't, no matter what, you have to say the words. You have to say, I know I keep fucking up, and I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can and I'm trying really, really hard. And they're going to say, well, you're not trying hard enough because you keep on doing the same thing over and over again. So
And so,
how are
okay, so stop this. So, what is the relapsed addict supposed to say to that person who says that back to them during an amends? Like,
the
do you
relapse? So
just
the
sit there and take it?
wait a minute. Are okay, the
So the
relapser,
relapser is making amends to somebody
yes,
who they've made amends to prior
multiple
more than
times, right?
once,
Yeah.
and that person says, uh,
Your words mean nothing
yeah,
to
you're
me.
not doing the
Yeah,
best you can because you keep doing the same thing and you keep fucking up. And so does the relapser just sit there quietly and take in what this person's saying, or
absolutely.
do they rebuttal? Do they
Nope, they
rebut?
have to say they
Okay.
have to understand that what's happening now is just they're just words being said, and that person that they're saying their words to probably aren't even hearing them anymore because it's just the same
Mm-hmm.
old, same old, same
Mm-hmm.
old.
They're so
Okay.
sick of it. Yeah.
But they still have to make the amends and they have to say, I am sorry, and this is what I'm doing to change this. And keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. This is a disease that we have. This is a disease. This is not, trust me when I tell you that the addict and the alcoholic that is out there trapped in that wheel of insanity is not having a good time. It's not where they want to be. It's not where they are hoping that their life always would end up. They're in hell.
Yeah.
And what's keeping them from getting off of that wheel is their ego and their pride and their inability to say, I have a disease and I need help getting well and
Mm-hmm.
doing the things that need to be done to get well, because everybody is able to get well. It's a matter of if they want to do it or not. But they're not having a good time. We don't like having to constantly make apologies to people. We
Yeah,
don't like
I'm
having to
sure.
constantly dig our stuff out of our shit that we've just made. We don't like that. It's embarrassing, it's shameful, but when your ego is involved, you just are like, I can handle this. I can get a hold of it. I just don't want to right now. And it doesn't matter who I'm hurting
Mm-hmm.
or what kind of lives I'm destroying. I'm in charge. And until you say, I am no longer in charge, this thing has a hold on me and it is way too big for me to handle on my own. I need help and I'm willing to do the work that it takes to get off of this crazy Ferris wheel,
Mm-hmm.
then you're doomed. And you're going to hear the same old shit from the person that's relapsing because they just are not willing, ready, able, wanting to, or whatever, or they just think that they can handle it and you can't. So,
It sounds kind of like somebody who makes an apology with an expectation attached to it. They haven't dropped their ego or their pride.
yeah.
They're not making a true, I am, a true apology for and recognizing that specific behavior that hurt you.
Yeah.
It and that's more of a an apology for the person who's not the addict, rather than when it's prideful and ego driven, there's an expectation of if I say these things, everything's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be let go. Everything's going to be fine. If I just say these things, because I mean, everybody's been on the receiving end of, what we call a non-sincere apology. Like,
Mhm.
that the person's just going through the motions to kind of make sure this dust settles.
Yeah.
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 Thing I
And at
want
the
to
time,
say,
they're really probably thinking, and they are remorseful, and they're like, this
Yeah.
is not going to happen again.
Yeah.
But if they're not taking the steps that they need to take to make sure that that doesn't happen again, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
It's
So
going to
it's
happen
interesting
again.
when you guys talk about cleaning up your side of the street. So I really try to make it a nightly practice, um, to look myself in the mirror and say, I did the best I could today with what I had, but, or with what was, put in front of me. What I don't do, and maybe I should do, is if I feel like somebody deserves an amends, that I should make it the next day. I'm not going to call somebody at 10 o'clock at night. I'm usually not even awake at 10 o'clock at night, but, um, you know, I don't take it to the step that Debbie did in the beginning.
right.
I will recognize where I fucked up. I recognize where um, I was impatient or snapped to a response or was reactive or wasn't
Mm.
nice or polite or any of those things. Um, I don't necessarily take it to that step of actually making the amends. And, that's something that I need to look at. I need to call that person, or, the next time I see or, obviously if it's somebody in a store or somebody I don't know, I do have a tendency to get a little nasty with people on the phone.
Well, if it
Um,
was eating at you, Sue, you
yeah, and
hurt that.
yeah,
That's the
yeah, I
thing.
mean, it doesn't really eat at me, but it's those types of things that you're not proud of,
Hmm.
right? It's like you go to bed at night and you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
that was not my proudest moment today,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So the other thing I want to call out too, and this has happened to me, and I'm not sure if it's happened to either of you or any of our audience members, but there comes a point too for the person making the amends when if that person does not forgive or is still not trusting you or making you feel guilty for the past, that's not okay either. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like if you're doing all the right things, because I've had this happen to me, you know, like you can't call out something I did in 1985 and compare it to today, you know, because you're
Right.
feeling like shit about something. That is not okay. And those people pop up. I mean, they've popped up in my life, like, and I have to be careful. An example, I guess, would be, my children. I'm sorry for what I did to them. I love them dearly. But my guilt for what I did to them cannot carry in my relationship with them to a detriment, to me not being a mom or to
Mm.
me just, letting things go or picking up messes that are not my responsibility and my adult children, like those are things that I think we have to be aware of as well. Like, yeah, if we feel like we've cleaned our side of the street, if we're in the program, we've checked with a sponsor and that person is still unwilling, then sometimes relationships have to be severed, like, or just kind of scaled back.
Well, it's funny that like I dated a guy who was in the program and his son was completely out of control, so disrespectful, smoking pot in front of him and just and I'd be like, why are you okay with that? And he's like, oh, I put the kid through hell. I put it, and I'm like, no, you didn't. You were, he didn't abuse him or do any, I mean, he drank when he was little, and the kid went back and forth from his mother. This was, he was divorced, and mother and father, and the guilt of that made him think it's okay for my son to behave this way because of my alcoholism when he was growing up. And I was like, no, that's you've been sober for many years now. You've made amends. You are working a program. Like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my last question. Is there ever a scenario or a situation where somebody is making amends, the person is not receptive, and or what you all were talking about, holds on to all the hurt to use it to weaponize it against the addict who is making amends? Is there a point in time where you just wave the white flag and say this person can't be in my life any longer?
100%. 100%.
And does it have to come from the addict saying, I can no longer welcome this person, or do you, as the sponsor, say, you know what, you may want to rethink allowing this person to have access to your life?
Yeah, both. But if I'm working with a sponsee and I'm seeing that she's doing all the things and the person receiving is just taking that knife and keeps on, I'm saying you need to put a boundary up there and a wall, and because that's going to make her relapse. She could easily relapse over that.
Okay.
And because the guilt that we carry of the things that we've done during our addiction and alcohol use, when you're new in the program, you're holding on by a thread. And if you have somebody in your life that is just trying to snip that thread to see you go down, like I say, they'll get you drunk before you can get them sober. And same with amends. Like if somebody keeps throwing in your face things that you do and you haven't done them in a while and you're doing everything you can, there has to be a separation there.
My mother was the woman with the 1985 comment. And I had been sober for many years. I had never, I was on my own at 17. I had supported myself. I had never come to them for help. I had made amends to them. And I had to say to her, Mom, this is the last time you're going to bring up something I have done 30 years ago. I do not live with you, and I am not talking to you again until you seek help to let that go. And that's my mother. I love her and I can appreciate that she has her own issues, but I don't need that. That's nothing. I wasn't going to drink over that, but I'll tell you what, it was causing me a lot of angst.
Yeah.
And I had to get rid of both parents. I had to say, this is break time for us because you're a toxin in my life.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Great talk, girls.
Thanks for the questions and for this is always it's big growth in the program, right, Deb? Like this is huge. When you start making amends in your program of recovery, that's when the promises really start to come true. And I must say that 99% of my experiences have been delightful. I've never really had anybody, turn me away or meet me with hate. So,
Yeah.
um,
No, I
you know,
haven't either. Yeah.
lucky.
I've
But
had people that haven't responded to my outreach, and that's okay. Um, at least I know that I cleaned up my side of the street, and I made him I
And
made
neither
an
one of you had
apology.
anybody come back with any type of hatred, anger, verbal violence, anything like that. It's great. That's great.
No, no, no. I did not experience that, but I've had sponsees who have experienced that,
Mm.
and it's really, really heartbreaking, and it's very sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad because it becomes um it's more about that other person then than about
Mm-hmm.
the recovering addict,
Mm-hmm.
because she's doing all the things to mend herself and mend relationships and do everything that she needs to do, and that other person is being cruel, and that's on them. That's on them. They got to
Yeah.
figure that out. um so anyways, well, I hope that our audience took something away from this, and again, if I'm feeling ick, then I am making an apology, because I want to hold myself to a certain standard, like Sue said, and not behave a way that I'm not proud of. And I know it
Right.
immediately,
Right.
especially
I
if
agree.
if I'm,
You do because you feel it in your
I
gut. You're like,
feel it.
yep.
I feel it.
that
And I'm
was
like, oh, I don't
not
want
what
that.
I want to put
And
in the universe right
that's
now.
exactly
Yeah.
right. You know
Mm-hmm.
what? And I'm going to say it, and I've said it before, and I tell my sponsees this all the time. When you speak, you're speaking into a mirror. So
Yes. Yeah.
speak kindly, speak nice. You're speaking into a mirror. So say only
Yeah.
the things that you want to come back to you. And if it's not something that you want to come back to you because it's not nice, or it's not mean, or it's not worth saying, then make an apology for it and don't do it again.
I think that's a great place to
Amen.
end.
And so
That is
there.
a great place to end.
All right, so how's everybody going to
All
get in
right.
touch with us these days?
Well, first of all, I want you to know that I want you to like get in the car right away and go to Walgreens, even
I'm
though you're
going.
you're doing great. So
Join the
now
club.
they can find us on iHeart Radio, which I'm thrilled about, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music,
Mhm.
YouTube. But we also have an email address, rewind and reflect with us, and the and is spelled out at gmail.com. Would love to hear from people if if anything that we say resonates with them. I would also love to hear if anybody's got some ideas for a topic. Um, you
Yeah.
know, that would be kind of fun to take somebody else's topic and see what we could
Would
see how we
love
could
topic
butcher it.
ideas. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
like just,
And or DM any of
yeah,
us on
yeah.
social media. We'd love to hear from you. And it's always great when somebody says to me, I was listening to your podcast the other day. I think Debbie had a an example of you were talking to somebody who we're thinking about having on. And she's like, oh, I've been listening to you. You guys are hilarious. You sound just like you did in high school, which I
Hmm.
love. And then I was talking to somebody who I want to have on and sent her the podcast to listen to. And she's like, oh my God, look at your faces. We have to get Kristen's high school picture. We got to somehow figure out how to Photoshop them in.
No,
But
either that, or we have to
um,
we have to rebrand.
Just a
We
new
have to
picture.
rebrand.
okay, well, let me at least get a tan down in Florida and get rid of this liver spot on this middle of my forehead. And then we can take a picture in Florida. I'd rather
Okay.
have a picture of us in Florida than a picture of us in
Hmm.
ski
Okay.
outfits with, okay?
Okay. Whatever works for
But
you,
yeah,
Queens.
we would love to hear from you. I think it's and if you love the show, share the show. You can send it to somebody, follow us. We can get some traction that way. And this is a good
Hmm.
talk, ladies.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Well, May peace be with you and namaste,
Yes.
everybody. Love you
Love
all.
you
Yes.
guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.